Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where I talk about levels and whether or not I like them. But today we're actually going to do something different because today's video topic is about Geometry Dash's one-hit wonders. If you don't know, while mostly used in music, a one-hit wonder is basically when someone is mostly known for only one of their works. However, in this case, I define a one-hit wonder in Geometry Dash as a creator who only has a single rated level. And we're gonna look at some examples and also look at their other levels and see whether they are worth a look and a rate. I do want to clarify that by saying that these creators only have one rated level, I don't mean it in a negative way. Hell, I don't have a single rated level. In fact, let me share a saying with you all. Having a single rated level is better than having zero rated level. Before I start the video, I do want to share the Twitter post I made about this because there are a lot of creators that are mentioned that I didn't include. Mainly because I don't have a lot to say about them, no offense. So I will link the Twitter post in the description and I encourage you guys to check out the works of the creators that were mentioned in the replies and the quote tweets. And with that out of the way, let's start the video starting with Yeah, believe it or not, Doggy is not only one of the best players in the game at the moment, but he also has some creating experiences, which is pretty rare because the only creators that I can think of that is similar to Doggy are Kermal and Naboboy. But let's take a look at Doggy's level, starting with his first rated level, the Gens. The Gens is pretty okay in my opinion. Most of the appeal in this level for me is the funny looking boss fight, because if you remove the funny aspect of the Gens, you get a pretty typical early to mid 2.1 level, which to be fair for the time it was uploaded, it's actually pretty decent. But does he have any other levels worth looking at? The answer is yes, 3 actually. The first one I want to talk about is the Gens 2. As the name suggests, it's a sequel to the Gens with improved decoration and a pretty cool end screen. Next is Biden Circles, a pretty funny mega collab that was inspired by Trump Circles. But my favorite level from him probably has to be Gang, which is a pretty cute level that's based around some of his friends and has some little inside jokes that's related to them. And so, if you didn't know Doggy was also a creator, go check him out, it's actually pretty decent and I do think some of his other levels deserve a rate. I actually didn't know this before, but it turns out that Tidal Wave is actually Oni Link's only rated level, which was a bit surprising to me. But anyways, let's talk about Tidal Wave before I talk about his other levels. I actually really like Tidal Wave as a level. Not saying it's the best level ever, I do have my fair share of problems with it. The theming is such a breath of fresh air, especially for a top 1 extreme demon, and the execution is pretty good. I hear a lot of people complain about the color scheme on some of the parts, but I actually think it fits very well. I will say that the beach background that was used is pretty lacking in my opinion. But besides that, let's look at his other levels that deserve to rate, and there are 2 that caught my eye. An honorable mention goes to Gale Force. This is my second favorite level from him, but at the time I'm making this video, the level is not released yet. But anyways, the first level I want to talk about is Volcanic Gleam. I don't like this level as much as Tidal Wave, but it's still a pretty decent level. It kinda feels like Aerial Gleam but red except for that one time, but it's still a cool level nonetheless. The other level I want to talk about is Monogatari, and this one I actually like a whole lot more than Tidal Wave. It's very pretty to look at, it feels so alive, the background is one of the best he's ever used so far, the effects are pretty cool, and the end screen is pretty slick. I do hope his other levels got rated because as much as I like Tidal Wave, I don't want him to be known as the Tidal Wave guy, and he deserves more recognition than that. Oddmod's catalog is pretty small and I'm only gonna be talking about 2 levels, but the ones that are available are some pretty interesting talking points. Let's first take a look at her only rated level, Miku 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 Miku. I absolutely love how this level looks. Art level has always been a weakness for me, so already this gets a huge advantage. I love how cheery the beginning of the level is, and I just love how everything is drawn with its thick outline. And the drop is so chaotic. I love how everything just flashes rapidly, and I love every background that was used in the drop. And not only that, this is one of the only few levels where I don't turn off the shake just for the experience. Now I did say that I will only be talking about 2 levels for Oddmod, so is the other level worth the rate? Good news is, based off the decoration and the gimmick, I do think it's rate worthy. Bad news is, It's impossible. I am of course talking about Ashley Wave Trials. This is kinda sad for me because I love the aesthetic of Ashley Wave Trials, and if it were possible, I'd love to beat it someday. And while the gimmick is not unique, Wave is my absolute favorite game mode, so playing this would be a blast for me. And of course, how can I forget? You get a little goober following you throughout the whole level. I hope Odot can make another level similar to Ashley Wave Trials because it has potential to be another raid for her account. But sadly, it seems like Odot has been off the internet for a while, so we'll have to wait for quite a while to get a new level from her. Mauai, well okay, you guys can read right. Now we're getting into more unknown category. I didn't know who Mauai is before that Twitter post I made, but boy am I glad. But let's talk about their rated level first, Dreamcast. I absolutely love this level. The whole melancholic feeling this level gives off makes me feel calm despite the decoration being all over the place. The colors are just so pretty to look at, and best of all, it uses Pyrocynical's old outro song.
And Metro's booming track like that.
This level is very deserving of a raid, and I hope the creator gets more attention. But then I looked at their other levels and my god, these two levels deserves a feature. First off, I want to talk about Come Along With Me. It has a very similar vibe to Dreamcast, except it's a lot more glitchy in some aspects and feels more nostalgic in a way. But the one I want to talk the most is Restless City. This level is so interesting to me because they used like every old blocks to a point that someone will say that it's a layout and made it work. This is probably because of the backgrounds and art that's used throughout the level, making it feel more atmospheric, and the simple effects adds to the vibe of the level as well. And that's all I have to say really. I highly recommend for you guys to check out their levels. They are extremely underrated. Lashi is a very interesting creator, and you'll see why. But let's take a look at their rated level first, Blind Forest. It is a really nice melancholic level where it really feels like you're just strolling through a forest minding your own business. But then we get to the drop, and this is where it gets interesting because of how they approach the effect. For some reason, they just chose some aspect from the level, made them rotate and occasionally flash. And it's not arranged in some sort of pattern, or at least I don't think so. In fact, it looks a bit cluttered. This effect should have looked bad and amateurish, and yet it works? I don't know how and I don't know why, but it just fits the vibe of the level. So that was a pretty interesting level. Are there other levels worth the rate? My answer is yes, but it's not for everyone. How do I say this? The creating styles feels like a mix of 2003 Devon and Kermal. Let me explain with the first level I want to talk about, Waking Up. Here's what I'm talking about. It has the random and rebellious feeling that 2003 Devon levels have, but at the same time, it has the charm and the theming that Kermal level has. And the thing is, it works. Somehow it just works. But this is a lot more clearer in the level Gray. This level is just pure chaos. It is such a mesmerizing journey going through these different styles going through this 5-minute level. It made me question whether this has a meaning, but really, does it need to? I highly suggest for you guys to take a look at their levels because it's an interesting watch. I saved this particular creator at last because Nicoberry has been on my radar for a while now. But let's start with his rated level, Turn the Lights Off. This is a pretty solid level. I love the effects that's used, and considering this was made for Zeronium's creator contest, it was pretty impressive that he restricted himself to like 3 colors. The only thing I don't like about this level is the fact that it uses a Tolly Hall song. That was a pretty cool level. I wonder how many levels that he has that in my opinion deserves a rate. The answer is a lot. There are so many levels of his where I just question how is this not rated. If there's anyone that I think deserves the rate the most, it's most definitely Nicoberry. There are a lot of levels I want to talk about, but let's just talk about the ones that stood out to me the most. First off is Void. Void is interesting, a very atmospheric space-y type level until you get to the drop that just hits you on another level. And then there's Shatter. Shatter is something else honestly. A very intimidating and very anxiety-inducing level with amazing effects. I hope Nickelberry gets more rates, man, because he has been begging to mods on Twitter to get his other levels rated. I highly suggest you guys take a look at his levels. He most definitely deserves the recognition. Well, that's the end of the video. I know this is a bit different on what I usually do, but let me know what you guys think of this video. And if you guys have any suggestions for one-hit wonders with other levels that deserves a rate, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving a like and subscribe. That's all I have for you today. I'll see you all later. Bye bye.